Hello and welcome to the 4P podcast. I'm your host, Michael Paterno, and today we got episode 105. This is the growth process. Cigar talk, talking about growth process. Growing, becoming the best version of yourself, and using my testimony to help people understand why they go through certain things, why things happen to them, all that stuff. But first off, I do want to say um, nothing in the Bible commands you to support a country that was founded in 1948 by the Rothschilds. Just wanted to make sure we clarify that. Um, so I'm going to keep saying that moving forward. Remember, I'll say it one more time. Nothing in the Bible commands you to support a country that was founded by the Rothschilds in 1948. Just wanted to make sure everybody knows that. And no pastor can force you to support that. Let me light up my cigar, but I do want to say something about Jesus real quick. Um, your relationship, your relationship with Jesus is between you and him. It has nothing to do with no pastor, especially none of these celebrity pastors that are funneling money through the churches. You don't need a spiritual father. You don't need any of that stuff. Your relationship with Jesus is between you and Jesus, between you and God. You build that foundation. Jesus is already inside you. God's already inside of you. It's just up to you to go be the person that you need to become in order to build that relationship with God or with Jesus and to keep growing. You don't need another man on earth. No man on earth is closer to God than you. You're equal to a pastor. Just because a guy owns a church or runs a church or pastors a church, there's no difference between him and you and your relationship to God. I just want to make sure we make that clear because there's a lot of people who are so brainwashed they can't get out of their own way and they think that because somebody's a pastor that they're closer to God than them. And that's the craziest thought process. That's the most insane thought process. And that's a weak mindset because that's a mindset that um that's a mindset that you think um you need somebody to follow versus just like being your own person, like relying on politicians to change the country versus you changing who you are and building a better you. Um, Relying on doctors to make you healthier, relying on pastors to make you more spiritual. Like you can do all three of those things yourself. We change the country by becoming the best versions of ourselves, not because of the politicians that we pick. We become healthier not because the doctors that we go see every fucking day, but because of the people that we become in our health journey, eating the right foods, drinking a lot of water, going on walks, getting in your steps, weight training, all those things, taking the right supplements, going to see a hormone practitioner or a holistic hormone practitioner, reading the Bible, becoming the best version of yourself, and doing all the things that you need to do and become um, in your walk with Jesus, not because of what some pastor says from stage in his $150 million church. Those are all things that we can do to become the best versions of ourselves, and um, just keep growing and keep you know keep hustling and keep moving forward in that direction. That's a weak fucking mindset. If you need to rely on another man to lead you, whether you're a man or a woman, you should be able to understand and think independently and be like, okay, well, if I want my society to get better, I need to get better. In order for my community to get better, I need to get better. In order for me to be healthier and not go to these doctors, I need to become healthier. If um if I want to be more spiritual and be more faith based and have a better relationship with Jesus or God or whoever, then you need to do the work to build that. Somebody else is not going to do that for you. No pastor, no politician, no doctor. The three people that we should be questioning all the time and really like pursuing independence from those three types of people. You are qualified to build a relationship with God. You are qualified to do research to become healthy, and you are qualified to build your community and become the best version of yourself. But today I just wanted to talk to you, episode 105. I want to talk about the growth process. I've been seeing a lot of interesting stuff and having a lot of interesting conversations with other good men, um, people that I work with, people that I employ, people that I who my customers, my clients, um, people that I give business to, people I do business to. I've had a lot of great conversations over the last couple of weeks with a lot of good men and women, and I've really seen like this growth process and like sharing my experiences with other people and my testimony with other people to kind of pour into their life and the things that I've been through, right? Because I was the way I am now, I wasn't 7 or 8 years ago, right? Like when I lost my business, I was making $250,000 a year for about 2.5 years. And I lost my business. I went from making $250,000 a year as an independent owner operator. Um, I had my own truck and trailer, and I went all over the country. And then I went and started driving for Costco as a company driver, company employee, W-2, making fucking $50,000 for the 1 year. It was like the biggest fucking kick in the dick. But when I lost my business and before I started driving for Costco, I knew that that was my growth journey, right? I knew I wasn't a good enough person to steward that $250,000 a year. I knew I wasn't a good enough person to be a business owner because I was only worried about myself. I wasn't worried about impacting other people. Once you put people before yourself, and as you're in the growth process to becoming the best you, and you can afford to put that pressure on your shoulders of other people's problems and other people's um, conversations. Yes, it can get exhausting sometimes, but you have to become the biggest, strongest, mentally tough person that you can become so you can fill other people's cups, right? So I was I was the oh, my nose is real itchy. Sorry. I was the probably my weakest self, right? Because I was selfish, I was arrogant, I was chasing women, I was so worried about how much money I made instead of impacting other people's lives. So when I lost my business and I was like, I thought I had everything, and then I came crashing down, and I was like, well, like I just had a long conversation with God and was like, dude, like these are the things I want. I want to be a father. I want to be, well, first off, I want to be a better follower of Christ. I want to be a father, a husband, or a husband, a father. I want to become a business owner, and I want to become as healthy as I can become. And then that mind shift, when I said, like, I fucking suck, like, once I admitted to, me sucking, hey, God, I've sucked for the past, 6 years. because I had a really good job. Like before I became an independent owner operator, started my own business. I had a really good job. I started driving a truck for a very well known freight company in this country, one of the top, probably top five trucking companies in the country. I started there at 22 years old, driving Class A tractor trailers, doing doubles and triples, and Class A local work, city driver. My first year, I made $75,000 at 22 years old, and it only increased every year that I was there after that. And I was there for 6 years. And I think my last year there, um, right before I decided to get my own truck, my last year there, I hit 100. I was 27, 28. Like, that's insane. Like, no college degree, just a fucking free CDL that I got through the state of Florida when I was 18 years old. And I pissed all that away because I thought the grass was always greener on the other side. I was that person. I was that guy. I was like, oh, you know, I can't do this because fucking, this guy sucks or that guy sucks. Like I said those things. I legit said those things. I thought like I thought I was the best truck driver. I was a great truck driver, great employee, very safe, over almost over 2 million miles of safe driving. And um just, I always thought the grass was why do I go to work 14 hours a day every day? Like, why can't I, take my girlfriend out to dinner? Like, what, you know, I can never get off at 4 o'clock. I always work till fucking 8, 9 o'clock at night. Like, I was always bitching about something, not realizing like, I lived in a nice apartment in Dallas. I had a badass truck. Like, all my bills were paid every month. Like, it was insane. Like, I complained about everything. Like, I was just, oh, why can't I go to Florida more? Like, I always got to work till fucking, all my family lived in Florida. I was like, I always got to work till fucking 9, 10 o'clock on a Friday. I can't catch a flight, down to Florida, on a Friday because I always got to work late. Like, I should have went to college. I should have did this. Like, I should have did that. Like, you know, and I grew up around trucks ever since I was a little kid. There's a plenty of truck drivers, ex truck drivers in my family. Um, and growing up, one of my extended family members had lots of trucks, owned a big trucking company. So I grew up around trucks. So I knew like I was probably going to drive a truck. And obviously now I'm still in the trucking industry, but I've shifted to independent freight agent. So I run my own company. I find my own freight. I have my own clients. I work with trucking companies all over the country. Um, I do, 50 loads a week, and I employ 50 men a week who work those loads. Like, they feed their families. Like, I'm impacting their life. Like, they're also impacting my life, and I have great relationships with them, but I'm also impacting their life and making sure that I'm doing my job so they can feed their families and put food on the table and pay their bills, and not just be able to just make it through life, but be able to have more of an abundance, like have more for themselves, have more for their family so they can go on vacations and they can have nice cars and nice homes and do all the things that they want to do with their lives. Like, I don't want them to just fucking make regular money. Like, I want them to make tons of money. And I know they want that from me too. And, but I wasn't the man that I needed to be. And I share these stories with a lot of these drivers and a lot of these my customers. And, you know, I can tell when somebody's like in a growth mindset versus somebody who's just like, like I'm always bitching about something. But, you have to understand, like, God doesn't do things for you, he does things to you. Like, you have to go through these things, and you have to take a step back, like, and realize like your life is in a position that it's in because of you. Like, there's two things that you can control: your attitude and your effort. And if you're just always bitching about something, like, negative things are always going to happen to you. Like, I had to realize that, like, in 2020, 2019, like, I really had to realize, like, my life is the way it is because of my actions, because of the decisions that I made, not because of somebody else, not because of this manager, that supervisor, this branch manager, this person, this girl that I dated, my parents, like my uncle, whoever. None of those people have any impact on my life. The reason why my life is because it was my decisions, my emotions, my urges, all the things that all the decisions I made that impacted my life and brought me to this point, from being a business owner to failing, losing my business, and going down to be just back to working for somebody again. And I had that on the ground, knees on the ground, crying in my bedroom, praying to God, like, dude, what do I need to do? Like, I know that I've completely fucking fucked this up. But another lesson, like, God and Jesus don't give up on you just because you're act like an idiot. Like, they're always there. They're always there for you. They're always going to be there. They're always there to talk to. They're always, the Bible's always there. Read it. Read, the teachings of Jesus. Read the parts of the Bible where Jesus is talking. And and the funny thing is, like, none of that was started in a church. That was legit in my bedroom. I was just in my bedroom crying and praying and talking to God and being like, dude, I got to get this shit on track. Like, I can't keep going down this road because it's not going to be good. And I'm here because of it's my fault. Like, once you can openly admit that it's your fault, everything gets better. The shift is like insanely drastic. Like, it's a complete 180 turn in like 5 seconds. Well, the moment I said, like, I suck, I need to fix myself, this is what I want to do, let's get on this path, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes and go through any bullshit that I have to go through to get back there, I'll do it. Like, it was amazing. Like, I went from $50,000 a year job to $50,000 a year job, and I always wanted to be in sales. So I went from driving from Costco to becoming a sales guy. And I knew that, like, once I became a sales guy, I'm like, okay, like, I was always a local driver, so I always interacted with all the customers. And I always had good relationships with all the customers. And I knew that I had sales experience because I own my own truck. So I was selling to the customers to have them utilize my truck when I had my own truck for 2 years. Going around the country, delivering loads, picking up loads, like, um, just talking to people all over the country, passing out business cards. And then, so you're doing sales. Then next thing you know, your phone starts. Hey, Mike, what state are you? Oh, I'm in Salt Lake City. Hey, man, in 2 weeks, I'm going to have a load coming out of Phoenix. You think you can pick it up in Phoenix and bring it to Atlanta? Yeah, no problem. I got you. And then I go back to Dallas. I find a load from Dallas to Phoenix. I pick up this new customer's load and I move it from Phoenix to Atlanta. Like, so I knew that, like, I've always wanted to be in sales. When I worked for that large trucking company for 7 years, like, I knew that I always wanted to be in sales. And I wanted to get promoted to sales. They would never promote me. That's why I ended up buying my own truck. Because again, I was salty, I was sour, I was bitching. Instead of just staying there and saying, let me push through, let me push through. But then again, there's also that flip side where maybe that's the path that I needed to be on in order for God to teach me, like, this is what you have to do if you want to get to this point. So I had to fight through, like, the bullshit. Like, I had to make all those stupid fucking decisions to get to where I wanted to go. So I stopped driving and I bounced from one $50,000 a year driving position to a $50,000 a year sales position with commission. And that's when I started building a reputation around Texas of account manager. And I would go see people that I used to deliver to and pick up from and be like, "Oh, Mike, where have you been?" Like, um, hey, I'm a sales guy now. Like, I'm an account manager. I manage, all of Texas. And I made that transition. And then I went from one asset based carrier to another asset based carrier to a brokerage. And I did sales for 5 years. And that built my confidence from driving a truck for 10 plus years, doing sales for 5 years, to saying, you know what? I think it's time to start my own business. And now I'm back in the driver's seat. Like, it took me 6 years to go from failure to rebuild myself, change my mindset, change the way I think, change the way I eat, change the way I sleep, change the way I lift, change my relationship with Jesus, to become a husband, a father, a man of Christ, or a Christ follower, a better business owner. And I'm still learning shit every day. I still learn something every day. I still make mistakes. And every time I make a mistake, I own up to it. I tell the people, I screwed up. I fucked up. It's my fault. And I'm strong enough mentally to be even if it's, and this might be sometimes maybe a little bit of an issue, but even when it's not my fault, I'll still take ownership for it, because I feel like I'm stronger than the people sometimes that maybe I my mental capability is maybe stronger than some of the people around me. So instead of just listening to the reason why this happened, or I couldn't do this because of whatever, like, instead of like hearing all like their story as to why, even though it may have been their fault, like, I just say, you know what, I'll take full responsibility for it. Let's keep moving forward and let's get this thing rolling in the right direction. And maybe that's not probably, maybe that's something I need to learn, something I need to grow through. Maybe that's not the best way to do business. Maybe it is okay to tell people, like, hey, you fucked up. And that's probably what I should be doing. And but like, you know, I'm getting better about holding other people accountable and saying, like, hey, like, we're trying to run a business here. We can't do that. That's not our name. That's my name. That's your name. That's your company's name. That's the client's name. Like, we have to watch out for all these people, and we may have to protect each other, right? Because these drivers I work with work for other companies, so they got to protect their company name, their name, my name, the client that we're pulling the loads for. Like, they got to protect their name. So there's a lot of businesses that are involved in this to make sure that we're all working together and doing the right thing moving forward. But if you're in a place, like, if you're like stuck, you just have to realize, like, maybe you're stuck because of something that you're not doing. What is your spiritual relationship? Do you have a relationship with God or Jesus or whoever whoever you know, uh, whoever your spiritual being is that you look up to or you talk to? Like, what is your relationship with them? What is your relationship with health? Like, are you fucking 500 pounds? Or are you in shape? Are you working hard? Are you 500 pounds and you're trying to get to 250 pounds? Like, are you working hard towards these goals? And, you know, do you want to be a better business owner? Are you working for a company and you want to work your way up, but you can't get promoted and you've been there for 5 years? Like, are you realizing that maybe you're not getting promoted because it's what you're doing or what you're not doing, or the way that you are, or the way that your mindset is, or your outlook on life? Are you a positive person? Are you a negative person? Like, things are going to keep happening to you until that click in your brain says, why is this keep happening to me? Why am I always put in this situation? Why don't my employees listen to me? Why don't the people that I manage listen to me? Like, you have to, respect is earned, it's not given, but you got to put the work in. Like, I was just having a conversation with somebody the other day who owns a business too. And I was like, it's so annoying when you have weak people in management positions, because those weak people, the upper management people or the executive staff, puts weak people in management positions so they can be controlled, because most businesses don't want the strongest people in the best positions. Um, but it's good when an executive or a CEO or a vice president sees something in somebody and has a good enough thought process to say, that person does not need to be in that position. That person should be doing X, and putting people in the best possible position to be their most successful self. a lot of people just want you to be miserable because they're miserable. A lot of managers in around this country in these businesses, they shouldn't even be managers. They should be employees. And not most of the time, it's the employees that are working within the company that should be in those management positions. Because if you're not going to do it, somebody else is going to do it. And most of the time, the other person that's going to do it is not going to do it as good as you. It annoys me. It bothers me when I see good men, good fathers, good husbands, good strong men who you could tell who have leadership characteristics or leadership qualities, who are just regular employees or just in regular hourly positions who don't want responsibility to be in a management position or a CEO position or whatever, a C-suite or a executive position, and they have all the qualities and they should be in that position. It's like, man, you have a great, like, you have great characteristics, you have great morals, you have great values, you're a strong dude, you're you're a great husband, you're a great father, you have all these great qualities, and you don't want to move up like in your company. And it sucks because a weak person's going to move up and then be your manager, and then you're going to be frustrated when you knew that if you would have taken that position, you would have been a much better candidate for that position and a much better leader over 50 people or 25 people or 100 people or whatever it is. And I tell all my friends that all the time. I got tons of friends that are drivers at big trucking companies. And I'm like, dude, go be a supervisor, go be a driver manager. Like, you have all these high qualities. You go, um, you go lead these positions. You go lead these people. You're more qualified than the guy that's in there who's been in there for 10 years. But once you realize that, like, most of the issues within our life is our fault, once you can admit to that, you'll see a mindset shift. You'll see your mindset shift. You'll see you'll see everything kind of around. You'll feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulders once you say, "Hey God," or "Hey whatever." Once you say, like, my life is where it is because I fucked off, or I fucked up, or I suck, or whatever the situation is. Like, once you can admit to that, you'll feel a weight lifted off your shoulders, and then you'll be able to turn that corner and just start start a new path and just be you'll just be in a better place. And I think people really overcomplicate growth. I think they think it has to be like, oh, I'm going from 50 grand and I need to go make $10 million. Like, that rarely happens. Like, you're not the person you need to become at 50 grand to make $10 million. Like, it's a completely different mindset. I want to make millions of dollars too, but my mindset is not there yet. Like, I have to change my mindset to go from 1 million to 2 million, to go from 2 million to 8 million. Like, it's not the same mindset. So as my business grows and as my journey goes and as I build more relationships and more clients and more trucking companies and more drivers and people all across the country, my mindset has to change to do more things. I can't be the same guy I am now making, a million or 2 million in revenue to doing $10 million in revenue. It's going to take a different mindset. It's not going to be the same mindset. So even I have to go. Growth is an everyday thing. It's just, you don't just make it to this level and then just stop. Oh, I went from 50 grand to 100 grand. Like, even that, like, I tell people all the time, like, even making 50 grand a year, like, I hear people bitch all the time about they make 50 grand a year and they want to make 100 grand a year. Well, what qualities, what morals, what values do you have that you think that you deserve to go from 50 grand a year to 100 grand a year? Do you Have you changed your thought process? Have you changed your mindset? Because you can't go into $100,000 a year with a $50,000 a year mindset. And no company's just going to give you $100,000 a year and be like, oh, hey, fucking John, like, here you go. Have you proven to yourself? Like, are you being the best husband? Are you being the best father? Are you being the best wife? Are you being the best mother? Like, to warrant that that growth, you think you're just going to show up and they're just going to give you $100,000 a year, $1 million a year? It's fucking hard to make 100 grand a year. It's really fucking hard. But people that have this entitlement that they just deserve that. What warrants you to think that you deserve that? What have you shown your company to say, oh, we should promote so and so? They've done incredible job. They've done X, Y, and Z, everything we asked. Like, what makes you think that you're just going to show up and they're going to give you that? What makes you think that if you just start a business, you're going to be the best business owner? Managing your life, managing your relationships, managing how you are as a father, as a mother, as a husband, as a wife, managing all that will let you know if you can manage people, if you can be a good business owner. my wife becomes my wife is first before any business. You have to do the thing. If you want to grow, you need to admit to yourself that you're the issue. Once you admit to yourself that you're the issue, then you can start that growth journey, that growth process, and you'll turn that corner. I'm telling you, you'll feel like a weight was lifted off your shoulders once you say, all right, I give up. I've fucked off. I've fucked up. I've made horrible decisions. I've made bad decisions. What about people that get DUIs, right? How many people you know get DUIs and then they're still fucking drinking and driving? Like, did you not learn from your first DUI? Like, I think that's pretty loud and clear that God's trying to talk to you and saying, hey, maybe you probably shouldn't do that again because you got a kid at home or you got two kids at home or you got a wife and you got a business or whatever. Maybe you shouldn't keep drinking and driving. Excuse me. But yeah, I just think that, you know, I think the growth process, like if you truly want to grow and become the best version of yourself, you truly have to do, you just have to admit to yourself that you're the issue. You can't just be, we all know these people, these people that are, 40 years old with 10-year-old mindsets. It's just a little boy or a little girl in a grown adult's body. And they're just talking about how their life is where it is because this person, or their life is where it is because of their mom or dad or aunt or uncle or fucking supervisor, or, the job that they have, or I was just dealt a shitty hand of cards, and, my life sucks. And I just can't going in the right direction. I just can't get going in the right direction. And, this fucking sucks and that fucking sucks. We all know those people, right? They just bitch about everything under the sun about why their life the way it is. And the only thing, the only thing that they have to do in order to flip that mindset shift is just say, hey, my life sucks because of what I've done. And none of those other people matter. None of those other supervisors that they'll be bitching about supervisors from jobs that they don't even work at anymore. And it's like if it's like, dang, if you could just admit to yourself that your life is where it is because you fucked off and you suck, like you could do anything. But I appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening to 4P podcast. Um and just check us out on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. Hit me up on Instagram. I think it's 4P underscore Mike or 4P underscore Paterno. It's in the show notes. So yeah, just hit me up on Instagram if you ever want to chat or bullshit about anything. Yeah, just I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you so much. Episode 105. Y'all have a blessed day and take it easy.